back, Doll fans. We're going to talk about something today that I just really want to understand. It's a big topic, and I think it's something that a lot of people like they constantly comment and tell me that this needs to happen. Why exactly do we want to do a rebuild again? I think a lot of people wanted to do a fire sale, and many people are disappointed that we didn't trade away all of our key assets like the Jets did. We're going to talk about that today. Before we do that, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe to let me know if you enjoy these videos. So to get into it, it's a topic that I think a lot of people at this point, everybody wanted to trade Jalen Waddle for a first round pick, and here's the thing. When we talk about this Dolphins team, I understand what they did with Sauce Gardner, and that's great. They finagled the Indianapolis Colts like badly because Sauce is not that great of a corner. They got a lot more out of it. When you think of, this Dolphins team right now, the defense, we'll talk about Bradley Chubb. That was one of the key names, which I kind of like that they didn't trade him away. You don't understand the implications of what trading Bradley Chubb away does for Chop. You need a veteran person to allow these young guys to start learning and developing and doing all this stuff. So many people kind of look at the NFL like it's Madden, and you can just, this is a person's an 80 and he has a superstar potential, so he'll eventually. It's completely different than that. And this is where I think a lot of fans, and I'm talking to some of you guys over there, need to take the emotionality out of it. And, it's like there's more to this stuff than just, fire sale everybody and then start from zero. What they're doing right now, they kept Chubb because Chubb is the leadership, the example for Chop. He learns from Chubb, and if you take him away, it's going to be Chop on an island, basically. He's going to have to try and figure everything out by himself. And as far as we can see, Anthony Weaver, I'm not 100% sold out on him yet, but, it's been a struggle. So you doing that on your own is going to be very detrimental to Chop. Whereas now you get to see his potential with his, bigger brother kind of telling him how to go about and how to, elevate his game so that in the next couple of years he can be the guy that we all think that he can be. With Jalen Waddle, I don't personally understand, some of the people that wanted to trade him away. It's like Jalen Waddle, if you get a first round pick for him, you're pretty much just going to go and get another Jalen Waddle. You already gave him a contract, and going into next year, I don't fully understand why people want to suck so badly when you look at what the Chiefs did, and it's like people want this rebuild so bad. You look at what the Chiefs did. You have to remember when they got Patrick Mahomes, they had Alex Smith, they had Andy Reid, and they had a pretty decent offense already. All they did was they just got a better quarterback, let him sit for a year, because you're going to see with these crap teams, when you don't have a good coaching staff and a good GM, what ends up happening is that you force the young rookies to go and play, like we're doing right now, when they're not ready, and you destroy their confidence because, it's hard to come back a lot of the time with the way that things go with some of these rookies, especially with quarterbacks, where you just lose this confidence. They're not the same player, and they need to go somewhere else in order to showcase what they're truly about and learning the game. Because again, it's a very complicated game. It's very tough, and I think people don't fully understand how tough this game is, and especially in the day and age that we're at, where everybody runs a 4-2, and every defense and offense is super complicated. It takes a while for them to understand things. So doing a full rebuild, you're just kind of putting rookies in a position that is not great. You have a guy in Tua, which people love to hate him, but you can have this dude for the next year and let your rookie do exactly what Patrick Mahomes did, and then when he's ready the next year, then you put him out there. Because you're going to see right now, like Jackson Dart, yeah, they're starting him, but it's going to get tough for him, because he's playing with a bad team, and, he doesn't really have too many weapons at this point. And it's going to get tough because he's a rookie. The upside with Jackson Dart is that he can run, but besides that, you see a lot of mistakes happening. And you don't want to crumble that confidence in your rookie quarterback off rip. If Patrick Mahomes played the first year, he probably, I don't know if he'd have the same confidence that he did sitting for a year, completely learning how the NFL works and doing all this stuff. Because you have to remember, the reason he was picked so late, he went to Texas Tech, and there was a lot of like Brett Favre interception touchdown with him coming out of the draft. And if you started him that year, he might have just thrown a bunch of picks, and it just would have messed with his Patrick Mahomes aura. Versus sitting him for a year, you get him confident in playing in the NFL, understanding what he's seeing, understanding how the plays are developing and how defenses move and what you need to look for on the field. This is what good teams do. This is why Jordan Love is successful. You had him sitting behind Aaron Rodgers for a couple of years. You didn't just force him out there because, again, we talk about Jordan Love a lot because he was in the Tua draft. But if you force Jordan Love out there, you probably would have destroyed him immediately. He was not ready coming out of the draft. Neither was Tua. That's one of the things that a lot of people don't want to talk about, is that Tua was coming off of a very significant hip injury. And this is why I always think he's going to go to another team and he's going to do his thing, because he was not ready. And then you destroyed his confidence and then just completely abolished any potential that you had in him. It happens all the time with bad teams. And this is why I get kind of confused why people want to do this again with the rebuild. You have pieces in place. You have a Jalen Waddle. You have Devon Achane and Ollie Gordon. You have a Patrick Paul, and James Daniels is under contract for next year. We'll see what happens with Aaron Brewer, but you have an Austin Jackson as well. We continue trying to do this rebuild crap, but again, that offense, you add a couple more pieces to this offense, you're going to have a 20-point, 30-point offense, in the next year, And what you can do, because again, now we have first, second, and 3/3, depending on what happens, this season, if we make any trades, you have these pieces in place where, I know I was personally one of them that wanted to trade Minkah Fitzpatrick, but you just gave him a contract. It's like, maybe you trade him in the offseason. Maybe somebody needs a safety. Maybe they miss on a safety. You trade him in the offseason. But, going into this defensive line, you have Zach Sealer. Kenneth Grant is starting to get better and better every single week. And having Chop over there as well, with Dante Trader performing the way that he's performing right now, you get a couple of players, maybe a corner in the first or second round. I mean, most likely we're going quarterback, but here's what I'm trying to encompass when it comes to this Dolphins team. With this offense, if you go into this year, you have 5 picks, you get your quarterback that you want, and you sit him behind Tua the entire year. You let him just progress and learn from Tua, because Tua understands the NFL. It's just a lot of physical limitations that hinder him. It's not that he doesn't understand how to play. It's that there's a lot of physical limitations that don't allow him to be at that elite level. He just doesn't have the arm strength. He is smaller. It's just a bunch of physical limitations. So you allow a guy to learn under him and groom and have a good culture around them, so that next year when he's ready to start, he can start. You have Tua for that year. You let Tua do his thing, because the thing is that Tua's going to try and show out for the next team that he's going to go on, because he's going to hit free agency. So a lot of the time with these players, they have their best years in the contract years. So you have Tua playing for a contract. He's going to show out. You might do something that year, and you let the young guy learn under Tua. You have Jalen Waddle. Maybe you go into the second round, you either get a corner or a wide receiver, and you have those guys coming into the field where they can groom. I would, honestly, with this draft, the way the wide receivers are kind of playing out, I would get a wide receiver in the second round. You start building this offense through rookies, and then this third rounder just get 2 corners. And then you just have a couple more pieces to fill out. It's a bridge year where maybe you're 10 and something, maybe you're 9 and 8, maybe you take a playoff run or whatever it is. But that bridge year, you have another full set of draft picks. Maybe you trade away a couple of players. You have a full set. You re-up on everybody that you need as a rookie. A couple more free agents. And then you have a squad in 2 years. If you trade all of this away, you just have a dude starting from scratch trying to figure it out. Right now, there's pieces on this team. So I just want to understand in the comments and let me know, what your guys' stuff. I think maybe some of you are getting too emotional about things. You want this rebuild, but you don't need one. You just need to have a good GM, a good head coach, and someone that can fill in the pieces over the next couple of years. And then you can do exactly the same thing that the New England Patriots are doing. You get your quarterback, you get your squad, and you develop through rookies. You could have a squad in 2028 or whatever it would be, not next year, but the year after that. You can even have, like, again, an Alex Smith type Chiefs where you're 9-8, 10 and whatever. Maybe you make a playoff push, maybe not. But you're developing the culture next year. You keep adding the couple of pieces in the draft and then a couple of free agents, doing it right. Again, getting the right GM and the right head coach that know not to spend a crap ton of money on some crazy player like Tyreek Hill and just letting the rebuild happen. Because you have a Tyreek Hill. You have Jalen Waddle right there. You'll be a contender in a couple of years. Don't think we need a rebuild. I think people are just getting way too emotional about things. And I think you guys need to take a step back and realize that there's only a couple problems hindering us. It's pretty much like kind of the quarterback, the head coach, and the GM, because they didn't fill the roster right. But if you get those things corrected, this team is going to be just like the Patriots. You'll have an offense, you'll have a defense, you'll do your thing. If anything, you can even sit there and, one of the things that I'm thinking is you have Zach Taylor. That's, depending on this year, I don't know if he's going to be the head coach of the Bengals. Get Chris Shula from the freaking Rams. Get the lineage. You get your GM, probably somebody from the Rams as well. It would be such a spot-on thing. I think Agnew is the guy that's the assistant. You get the Rams GM. You get the Rams head coach. Get Zach Taylor as your offensive coordinator. Fill in a defensive coordinator, but Shula would be calling the plays. You draft a couple of guys and you hit a couple years, and this team can really be a contender instead of a fake one. I'm just saying, man. I think people are getting too emotional about things, and need to take a look and, like, if we're playing like this against certain teams like the Bills, and the Patriots, if we're playing like that, we just need a couple more pieces. Again, offensive lineman, quarterback, a couple pieces, and you're good. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. As always, guys, praise God, love God. It's great all the time. Love you all. Peace.